Go.
Hey PJ, it's Thought Leader Thursday with Edwene and lots of folks here. So
All
we're
right, so
on.
let's get going. Thank you all so much for being here, Edwene. We're so excited, so we're just gonna move forward with it. And just let me just introduce our. She doesn't need an introduction, but I'll just do a small introduction of Edwene Gaines and all the things she has done. But she has 100% commitment to the transformation of the abundance consciousness of the world. And that is what her work has been. She's an author of the book, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, the first book I read by her that just changed my life. And she has a book called How to Become Debt Free, Forgive. It's a big thing, one of her principles. So she's an ordained Unity minister since 1979, and the previous owner and director of Rock Ridge Retreat Center in Valley Head. I'm not going to keep going on because there's just so many things and I want to get to it. Let me just say this, and we're going to start with the opening prayer. Edwine's going to talk, and then you guys, if you have some questions about, 10, 15 minutes into it, just raise your digital hand because it's hard for me to see. There's too many people on here and I won't be able to see you waving your hand. But please just raise your digital hand. We'll see that and we'll go in order and have Edwene answer whatever questions you might have. So with that, I can't even, I'm just going to I'm going to call on Michelle because I can't see you all. I'm going to call on Michelle to open us up with a prayer. If you don't mind, Michelle, I appreciate that.
And I would be honored to do that and welcome everybody. This is so exciting. I just have to say before I pray, this is a record number. Edwene, my friend, you still got it. Look, we have never had this many people on a Thought Leader Thursday. So thank you so much for saying yes to this, for being with us, and thank you all for being here this morning. This is very exciting. So if you're comfortable closing your eyes, I invite you to do that. Just go ahead and take a nice deep breath all the way down into your belly, down into your diaphragm. And with that breath, allow your body to relax. And one more deep, deep, deep diaphragm breath. And with that breath, bring yourself fully, completely into this present moment. This present moment that is all there is. In the infinite, there is only the eternal now. And how blessed we are, how grateful I am, how thrilling it is to be in this eternal now moment together. I know that this time that we have, brief though it may be, is extraordinary, that each one of us walks away with, wow, I needed to hear that. And we truly are transformed from the inside out. I'm so grateful for this time. I'm so grateful for Edwene, the work that she does in the world, the light of love and clear consciousness that she is. And so grateful for each and every beautiful soul on this call. So in complete and full total gratitude, we call this time good, not just good, but very, very good. And so it is.
It is. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. And with that, I'm just gonna turn it right over to you, Edwene, and just go ahead and you've got the floor. You've got the
Thank
floor.
you. And thank you, Michelle, for that lovely prayer. And I want to thank all of you there for your hospitality, your kindness. And I need to tell you that I'm truly honored to be able to do this. I love to speak about prosperity. I've been speaking about it for a long, long time and practicing the principles for a long, long time. And I've moved from real poverty, not be able to feed my child kind of poverty, working 2 jobs, 16 hours a day, single parent, just getting by, putting up with making ends meet, into a level of living that most people would call a level of wealth today. And I want to share with you today some of the things that I have learned and the principles that I practice. I'd like to start with my definition of prosperity because many people think prosperity simply means money. And it does mean money, but it also means some other equally, if not more important things. Prosperity for me is a healthy body, a vitally alive body, a temple that I can walk around the world in and do my job. Prosperity is relationships that are joyous and kind and helpful and that work all the time. Prosperity is work that we love so much. It's not work, it's play. And finally, prosperity is all money we can spend. Thank you, God, for that. Now, there are some people who have a lot of guilt around having money or having their lives work. In fact, they may be in some way addicted to drama. And you can have drama, or you can have challenges that are for your good, that teach you something. So, in my beginning study, I was a member initially of a traditional church, and I had left that church because I didn't understand the same God that they thought they understood. So I went for several years without any kind of church activity, but I still believed in God, whatever God is, and I don't even pretend to know. And I believe that this presence, whether it's spirit or energy or the divine presence within us, I don't know what it is, but I know that it loves me, loves you, and wants you to win. So, what we've got to do, first of all, is we've got to love ourselves enough to let go of old memories, old grudges, old guilt, and give ourselves permission to be forgiven, to forgive ourselves and others. Now, that's one of the principles that I will talk about a little bit more later. But the first one I think that got hold of me was not forgiveness, because I wouldn't even consider that. But I got hold of the idea of tithing somewhere along, because every preacher I've ever known has talked about tithing, but I just kind of tossed that out of my mind because I couldn't afford to do that. That was my excuse. And a lot of people still have that excuse, and that's okay. You can have it for as long as you want to. Yeah. But if you want to move out of that level of living, there's some level I feel that I have to trust God. And I use the Bible many times as my teacher. And I want to read you the scripture that changed my life. And that is, I know many of you already know this. In fact, you already know everything I'm talking about today. I'm just reminding you of some of the things that you already know. So let me get my glasses on here and read this scripture. Malachi 3:10. Go back and read it if you want to for yourself. Last book in the Old Testament. Here's what it says. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in mine house. And prove me now herewith, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Well, I read that scripture over and over and over. And the first thing that I was pondering was, what is the storehouse? Because that's the instruction. Bring your tithe into the storehouse. So when I prayed about that, I got this answer. The storehouse is where the food is kept. So the way that I began to practice tithing is I was giving my 10th. That's what a tithe is, 1/10 of all the monies you receive, or all the crops you grow, or all the wonderful gifts that you get from heaven. 1/10 of all that belongs to God if we want to play with the big kids. Now, you don't have to play with the big kids. God will still love you and protect you and care for you and maybe even prosper you. But when you give your tithe back where you've been fed spiritually, where you got your spiritual food, something in us shifts and we begin to feel in integrity. We begin to feel more worthy. A lot of people won't let themselves receive because they don't feel worthy. But when you come to realize who you are, really, a creation made in the image of the Most High, loved beyond our capacity to understand, we realize that there is a way to let go of feelings of unworthiness when we get to forgiveness. So I began my tithing. And sometimes my tithe was so small, they were embarrassing really for me to give, but I gave them anyway. And I tithed steadily. And I didn't make $1 million overnight, but my income did reach $100,000 in 1 year of tithing. Now, at that time, 50 years ago, that was a whole lot more money than it is today. What happened to me in my beginning of tithing is I got ideas and I followed them, and I started businesses on a shoestring, and money started coming in from all directions. And throughout the years now, from living at a level where I could not feed my child, and I had to struggle to pay the rent. And there were many days I had to dig in the sofa for pennies to send my daughter's lunch money with her. It was an amazing journey now. This has been 50 years of doing this, 55 years actually, of tithing. And I live at a level now where if I want to buy a house, I can pay cash for it. When I go to buy a car, I pay cash for it. I have absolutely no debt whatsoever. My second book is How to Become Debt-Free, Forgive. Yeah. The more you love yourself, the more you feel worthy, the more you will open yourself to receive more. I don't know where I heard this, but I heard this somewhere recently. I'm working to expand my tolerance for pleasure because life gets better and better every day. Now, I don't mind telling you my age. I'm 85 years old, and I'm still working, still teaching, still leading prayer groups, still doing what I love to do. And I invite you, if you want to expand your tolerance for pleasure in your life, tithing is something you might want to consider. So this is how it works for me. Every time that I receive money, which is nearly every day, as soon as it gets deposited in my bank account, I write my tithe checks and I go into prayer. Mother, Father God, where does this tithe go? Remind me where I've been fed. And I send a portion of my tithe to every single place that I feel that I'm recognizing that I've received spiritual food. Now, every one of us, whether we are aware of it or not, we receive spiritual food all the time. But only if we're awake and alert do we recognize those people, those places, those institutions where we're receiving our spiritual food. So I'm not talking here now about giving to charity. It's a wonderful thing to do, and I give to a lot of charities, but I don't give my tithe there. After I've tithed, I go back and give to my special charities that I love to give to. I'm going to tell you the secret, the true bottom line secret of true prosperity. I want you to take a deep breath, and as my father would say, buckle up, buttercup. Here it is. The more you give, the more you receive. Whether it's time, talent, energy, service, money, the more you give, the more you receive. Emerson says you cannot outgive God, and I've tried, and I cannot do it. Because every time I give something that I would not have thought of giving to before, or maybe I stretch my giving, and instead of giving 10%, I give 15 or 20 or 25% or 50%. It just depends on my guidance, and that's the key here, folks. Are you in touch with your guidance system? Can you go within and ask your inner self, your God self, the God within you? And in Unity, we teach Christ in you, your hope of glory. That's in the Bible. That inner guidance system in you will guide you, will show you what to do. But here is the test. The master teacher, Jesus said, you have to ask. Ask, what should I do here? Should I buy this car? Should I go on this vacation trip? Go within and ask a question about anything. What do I do about this? Show me the way. Where does this tithe go? Remind me where I've been fed. Now, most of the time people ask me, why 10%? And the question, I don't have an answer to that. I don't know. There are a lot of theories, like 10 is the number of completion, or all sorts of things. They may be nice answers, but I don't understand them. But I my teacher said, if you don't understand and you ask and you still don't understand, then make up an answer that pleases you. So here's my answer. The reason it's 10% is because the God that loves me knows that if I had to tithe 11.3%, I'd spend all my time trying to figure out what that was. So 10% is easy. If you get $100, $10 is your tithe. If you get $230, $23 is your tithe. 10% of all you receive on a regular, disciplined basis. I get the question, well, when do I tithe? I like to tithe at the end of the year. If you tithe at the end of the year, you're postponing your receiving for a year. Yeah. So I tithe at least every week and sometimes many times before that. So it's up to you. And if some of these teachings don't make sense to your soul, I ask you not to reject them. Just put them up on a mental shelf and say, I don't want to look at these right now. I'll take them down later. See, I want you to do it your way, not my way. But tithing has turned me into a very good receiver. And I want that for you as well. Money comes to me from all directions, expected and unexpected. And I'm truly grateful. And I attribute that to my willingness and my ability and my courage to keep tithing. Yeah. So deep breath. Now, I mentioned forgiveness, and I have a second book that I wrote called How to Become Debt Free. Forgive. So I'm inviting you, if you want to be debt free, practice forgiveness every day. Every night before I go to sleep, I ask myself in prayer, have I put anyone outside my heart today? And folks, usually I have. There's somebody that cut me off in traffic, or a clerk was kind of irritating, or just little tiny thing, nitpicky little things that I'm working on, folks. And I want your prayers for that, all right? So that I can just see the good in everything, because that's really the goal for me. Good in everything, to rise above the chaos, the distractions, the controversies, and see the thing the way God sees them. That's my goal, because I want to make sure that every person that I meet every day knows that I believe they matter. Because that's what people need. People need to know that they matter. So deep breath. So if you have questions about tithing, you can ask them. If you have questions about forgiveness, ask them. But we're going to go on unless there are questions. So.
Okay, yeah, so if anybody has questions, please go ahead and raise your digital hand. It's hard for me to see or be able to see if your hand is waving. But if you have questions for Edwene, just raise your hand and we'll get to you as soon as we can. We want to give her as much time to talk as possible, but also we want to answer your questions. So don't feel.
Quick tutorial, digital hand, go to the React button and click on raise hand.
Very good.
Yes.
Look at that. Perfect. Okay. The React button at the bottom of the page. Yeah.
All right. So my forgiveness process, and I have a lot of them, and they're in that book on how I use my forgiveness. But I found myself maybe 20 years ago in what I thought was too much debt for me. I had a mortgage on my retreat center, and car payments, and just a lot of credit card bills. And I realized I don't have to live like this. Yeah. So I was in a study, personal private study. Did you have a question, BJ? Was there a question? Did I miss something?
No, there's no hands being raised. So I think everybody just wants to hear from you. And it's
okay. Thank you.
We just gave him permission, but you can go ahead. Yeah. Thank you for asking.
Okay. So I was doing a personal study of the Lord's Prayer. Now, in the Lord's Prayer, there's a line that says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. That's King James Version. Well, At that time I was living in Alabama, and there's a lot of trespassing signs up in Alabama, out in the country where I was living. And uh, I didn't want to trespass. In Alabama, if you trespass, they'll shoot you. Yeah, you beat it. I'm not going to do that. So I looked it up again. I knew that's not what it meant, but I didn't know for sure what it meant. Well, another translation of the many translations we have of the Bible, it says, forgive us our debts as we also forgive our debtors. Yeah. Okay, so I had debtors. I had debtors, people that I thought owed me something. Yep. Now, when we have those kinds of feelings, and they're real, and they probably do owe us something, as long as we carry that in as a burden, we're going to create more debt, because that's an equality. The more you are unforgiving, the more debt you create for yourself. Yeah. So I stopped focusing on the debt and focusing on forgiveness. And I did this. I wrote out, I, Edwene, forgive myself completely 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening for 7 days. That's 70 times 7. That's what Jesus was talking about how many times we had to forgive people. And I wrote that just for myself for 7 days a week. And I felt so much better. And then I decided to do it for my father for a week, my mother for a week, my brother for a week, all my previous relationships for a week each. It took me almost 2 years to do that one, honey. Take a deep breath. But I was sincere and I was dedicated, and it didn't happen overnight. I can't just say I forgive myself completely and have that. So far, I can't do that. Maybe you can. But it took me a while to begin to put myself in their place and see how they must be feeling, or how they were feeling when they did that to me. Yeah. So, and I began to have compassion, thinking about their families and how they were raised, and what they might have gone through to be that kind of a person, and what I must have gone through to be the kind of person that judges them so harshly. So eventually I got through all the ones I could think of. And during that time, I kept noticing how easy it was to pay. Instead of paying my mortgage for the month, I would pay it 2 times. Yeah. And then I would pay it 3 times. I could pay the mortgage for 1 month. And uh, all of a sudden, I had my property paid for. My car was paid for. Not all of a sudden. It didn't take that. It took maybe I'm going to say 2.5 years for me to get completely debt free. And I have been debt free now for about 20 years. I want you to be debt free if you want to. You have a right to be debt free. The universe loves you enough to show you how. But one way that you can begin very easily is to forgive those that you feel owe you. Forgive your debtors. And one of those debtors is you. You owe yourself some self-love. You owe yourself some self-love. And the more sweet, good things you do without creating unfortunate debt, the more good things you treat yourself to that you can afford, the kinder you are by giving up negative self-talk, the wider the windows of heaven open for you, and more and more and more comes your way. It's exciting. It's a wonderful process that we're on. So the first thing you got to do is tithe and forgive. First 2 things. I'm going to go in now into goal setting. The 4 principles that I use are: number 1, tithe; number 2, forgive; number 3, set clear-cut, tangible goals. A lot of people, when I ask them their goal, they say, I just want to be happy. Well, happiness is not a goal. Happiness is a choice. And you can make that choice right now. I choose to be happy. I am blessed. I have a warm bed to sleep in and food to eat tonight. Thank you, God. Yesterday I was driving around, and at the corner of a big stop sign and spot green and red light, there was a woman standing there who looked impoverished. A sign, I'm homeless. Can you help me? And the light was had long enough for me to have a little conversation. And I said, well, how are you doing? She said, not well at all. And I'd given her some money. And she said, I sleep out night. It's cold here and I have to sleep outside. And folks, this woman is one of us. And she's had hard times. And our job is not to ignore them or belittle them or dismiss them. That young woman is my co-equal in the eyes of God. And I'm told to love my neighbor as I love myself. And I love myself. And so I loved her too. And I gave her a little pep talk and she was smiling when I left. And I gave her some money to help her get through the day. Yeah. So our job then is to make sure that we don't see ourselves as superior and we don't see ourselves as inferior. Yeah. So back to setting goals. The question I ask you is, what do you want? Not what do I want to feel? What do I want to be? What do I want right now? You see, it's my belief that we are guided on our spiritual pathway by our desires. Yeah. Now, if you get a desire that doesn't seem spiritually legal, then you ask Spirit, if this is not the perfect goal for me, please remove it. And they are removed. But if you want a new car or a new home or a trip to Tibet or whatever it is you want, nothing shall be impossible to you if you're willing to do your spiritual work, if you're willing to tithe and forgive, to set clear-cut, tangible, written goals. If you don't write them, you don't really incorporate them into the cells of your body. So writing helps us. And then what you have to do in addition to that is visualize them. Yeah. Let's say you want to go on a trip to Hong Kong. Well, get some pictures of Hong Kong and see what it looks like. Look and see what language they use there, what their population is, what things you'd like to see when you go to Hong Kong. Put them all, if you can, make pictures of them or make pictures of them in your mind and thank God for the trip to Hong Kong. Yeah. Now, you might want to go to a Chinese shop and buy something made in Hong Kong. They have lovely little eyeglass cases and little coin purses that don't cost a lot. One of the greatest teachings I got from my first teacher when I had just started, maybe 2 or 3 weeks into tithing. I went to a woman that I considered my teacher. I said, "This is not working. You know, look, my bank account is just about empty, and I've tithed." And she said, "Edwene, you're not feeling rich." And I said, "Well, I could have told you that. I'm not feeling rich." She said, "Well, here's how you have to feel rich in order to be rich." Well, I had never heard such a thing. How can you feel rich when you don't have anything? She said, "I want you to go today and buy something that makes you feel rich, at a level that you can spend." Well, I went to the grocery store. I went once a week. I had a list about what was on the list. That's all I could afford. I couldn't afford one other anything. That was it. So I'm at because I had all my meals planned out because I had to buy as little as possible, spend as little amount of money as possible at the grocery store. So I'm in the grocery store and I'm thinking, what could I buy that made me feel rich? And I go by the gourmet section and there are these little bottles of olives filled with almonds. I looked at those. Oh my gosh. I just knew that's what rich people ate. So I picked them up. Oh my God, they were $1.29. Now this was 50 years ago. Oh no, I put them back. That puts a hole in my food budget. I can't get peanut butter. Oh my goodness, what will I do? And I just left it there. I went on and a few minutes I came back by and picked it up and said, "I'm going to do what she said." And I bought it and I went home, called my girlfriend Lana. She lived in an apartment complex. And I said, "Honey, come over. We're going to go sit by I'm coming over. We're going to sit by your swimming pool." And I said, I know you have some wine in your refrigerator. Get it out in your little glasses. I got some olives that have almonds in them. We're going to go out and sit by your pool, and we're going to drink your wine and eat these olives with almonds. And we're going to pretend like we're in Mexico City. And that's what we did. Now, if the truth is truly told, we probably got a little bit sloshed that day, but we had a wonderful. So we decided that we would go to Mexico City, and we made it happen within about 6 months. So make it fun and be courageous, because doing these principles may push you through your fear and your limiting beliefs. And believe it or not, that's a good thing. Yeah. So set your goals. I usually work with 12 at a time. Many people work with a lot more, and some people work with one. But check it out when you're starting to write your goals. What do you really want? Not what you ought to want, not what your family wants for you. And you don't have to show your goals to anybody or tell anybody what you're doing. If you have a prayer partner, that's a good thing to share with your prayer partner, or somebody that believes in you, that will praise you and support you. Don't tell people who will say to you, well, why would you want that? We don't want any kind of negativity falling down on our goals. Yeah, because once you write it down, you've asked, and the promise is ask and you shall receive. And I've had, unless you change your mind. There have been several times that I set a goal down and it came right there and I didn't want it. I've also gotten goals that after I got them and I enjoyed them for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 weeks, I realized I don't want this. Well, here's it. So easy. You prayed it into your life. Pray it out. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The only people who don't make mistakes are martyrs, and they're very boring people. Yeah. So here's the question I would like you to answer for yourself. What's stopping you for going to your highest goal? The most frequent answer I get, I have responsibilities. So take a deep breath. I'm going to tell you a secret. Your responsibility is to be all that you came to be, to follow your guidance, and trust that that process, even though there may be others who might not approve at the moment, in some way that you cannot see and they cannot see, it's going to be good for them too. But when you hold back on your deepest desires, you're teaching those around you to do the same thing. And that's why we live in a culture where a lot of people are very disappointed with their lives because they've never given themselves permission to go for their dreams. And that's your and my responsibility. Deep breath. So we've talked a little bit about tithing. There's a lot more to it. If you want to read my book, I highly urge you. It answers a lot of tithing questions. The four spiritual laws of prosperity. Forgiveness, which is mandatory every day. Because if you hold on to that, it will make you ill and keep you poor. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to step outside your comfort zone and play with the big kids and do the things you've always wanted to do. I wanted to take my grandsons, who are twins, to Peru, to the rainforest, to Jamaica, to the lovely beaches there and the culture, to China, I did, to Tibet. We spent a week in Tibet with the Buddhist monks, and everything that they wanted to do, I was able financially and emotionally to support them. And both of them now, in their 30s, are extremely successful young men. They believe in
Edwene, there is a question out on the
Yes,
floor.
let's do that. Yes. Who is it?
Unity of, I don't know your name, but Unity of Central Massachusetts.
Yes.
This is Bob. I'm in central Massachusetts.
Hi. Brad, is it?
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, out here. Good morning for you.
Yes.
The question of setting goals as opposed to waiting on guidance. I find I don't set on goals. I find I wait on guidance to set my goals.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. There's not a problem. What goals, what do I want is asking for guidance.
Yes.
Yeah. So of course, absolutely. I'm in total agreement. Do you see a conflict there that I'm not seeing?
Well, I did see a conflict in that you were telling us to set your goals. That means defining a goal that you want to set. And I'm saying, I don't know what my goals really are. I'm waiting for Spirit to unfold them for me.
Yes, I agree with that. And the way that I feel, we don't have to come to an agreement, but the way that I feel is that when I want something, that's guidance that says go this way. It doesn't mean that I really want that goal. It wants me to go that way toward the goal. And whether I get it or not, I might have met somebody, that I really would enjoy their company or learn something from. It's not always about getting the goal. It's about following the guidance, which I get as a desire. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Does that help at all?
Yes, very much.
I believe in you, Brad. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Edwene. Thank you, Brad, for that question.
Yes. Anything else? Any other questions?
Let me just go back to the gallery view and make sure I don't see any other hands. Doesn't let me go to the gallery view. What's happening? Maybe, Bill, can you see it? Because it won't let me go to the gallery view. Oh, there's a Dara. Dara has her hand raised up.
Hi, Dara.
Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I love your talks, Edwina. I really do. I taught your book in a Unity class, and they just loved it. And I showed your little YouTubes that you have on, and that was great. And this is what I feel. And I think you might agree, is that really when we want something or desire something, and I just spoke on desire last Sunday, it's really that inner love knocking on our door.
Yeah.
And it's us saying, I want more. Send me more. Teach me more. So whether we think we want more money or when we can, it's truly an inner desire that starts from the beginning of the source. I want you more.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Dara, for that.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's all the questions, Edwene. Thank you.
Okay, good. So if there are no more questions about goals, and I may think of something I want to come back to later, but right now I'd like to go to number 4. So we're talking about tithing, forgiveness, setting clear-cut, tangible goals, not woo-woo stuff like I want to be holier or I want to be more spiritual. No. What do you really want? Well, you want a hot meal for dinner, probably. Anything, even if you just want to find the right person to do your nails. God tells us in scripture that anything, any tiny thing, any large thing that we ask for, the answer is right there. And when we go within to our guidance and ask the questions that we need to ask, that is in my feeling, that is God speaking to us at the heart level, saying, go for this. Yeah. So then the 4th one is finding your divine purpose. What are you here for? What did you come to do? What contract did you make with the universe before birth that you would come here and be responsible for? Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you go within and ask those kinds of questions if you don't know? If you don't know, that's okay. It took me a long time to figure out what mine was. I found it out by following my desires. And when I got to the point of wanting to learn about prosperity and then learning a little and then a little more and a little more, I realized I want everybody to know this. So I made a 100% commitment to myself and to the universe that I would be responsible for the transformation of the abundance consciousness of planet Earth. And I've worked on that now for over 50 years. And I'm not through yet, so I may have to come back. But I'm going to do it with your help, with God's guidance. Everybody needs to feel safe on planet Earth, to have more than enough food that falls off the trees and rots every day to feed this planet thousands of times over. Now, as a human family, we're working on distribution, and we have not done a good job at that, but we can change. We can make it a good job. We want everyone to have the health care that they need and require. We want everyone to feel loved, to feel competent, to feel safe at home here with the rest of us. That's what we want. So we have to start with where we are. What is my part in making this a world that works for everyone? What do you love to do? Maybe it's raising flowers. Oh, what a gift. What a wonderful gift to me to see the flowers that I can buy, that I don't have the time right now. I could make it, but I prefer to pay money for my flowers, or grow as many in my small little garden as I can. Yeah, or maybe yours is a technological intention to increase your understanding, or our understanding of the digital age and whatever else there is out there for us. It doesn't matter. All that matters is, what do you love to do? And you would do it whether you got paid or not, because it's so much fun. It feeds your soul to be able to do this. Whether you just do it for yourself. There are people who play the violins and nobody ever hears them, but the music is in the energy around the globe. So if you're just playing for yourself, play as if you're playing for the whole world. Do you hear what I'm saying? You are important to the plan. Your job is to find out what you love to do more than anything else in the world, and then go do that. And then if you change your mind 6 months later, change your mind. Because everything you're called to do is a learning lesson. Yeah.
Mm.
So far, you've not made a mistake. You've done some dumb things like I have, but you've learned from them, have you not?
Yes.
So I love a subsequent part of my purpose. My purpose is to have fun every day. Yeah. And some days when, I used to get on an airplane every 2 or 3 days. It wasn't always fun to go to the airport, and it was the Atlanta airport, one of the largest in the world, if not the largest, and walk 2 miles to your gate, it seemed like. But I would give myself permission to say hello to people, to have conversations, to stop for coffee and thank the people who served me. And I made it fun, because if you're not having a good time, you're responsible for that. So what can you do that makes yourself happy every day? Well, I'm happy to take care of my responsibilities, but I don't want my life to be about my responsibilities. I want to have fun every day. So I meet with my friends. I might watch a movie. I go buy some flowers. I speak occasionally at the Unity of Baton Rouge Church here. And this Sunday, I'll be leading the candle lighting prayer. I do that frequently. I do a lot of mentoring by telephone. People call me. We have 30-minute sessions. I love to do that. That is really fun for me, to support people in their finding the perfect way to go and get what they want out of life. I loved that work. So if you're not doing things that you love, why not? What stops you? Ask those questions of yourself. I had one gentleman one time that I spoke with, and he doesn't mind me telling his story, but I'm not going to mention his name, but he was a medical doctor. He was a medical doctor because mama wanted a medical doctor in the family. Yeah. He did not like it. He was not happy. His wife was not happy because he was not happy. His kids were not happy because he was not happy. So I dared him to ask, what would I rather be doing? No, he said, I have to do this. My family would be so upset. We'd have to move into a smaller house if I did what I was doing. We wouldn't have the money to spend lavishly. My family would not like it. I said, just, you don't have to do it. Just tell me what it would be. He said, I play jazz flute just for myself. And I guess my dream is always to be in a jazz band and play jazz flute and have some solos and see people light up when they heard my music. And his face lit up as he was telling me. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you that man now, if he's still alive, I'm not sure he is, but he's playing jazz flute and his family is happy, and his kids are happy. And they did move into a smaller, very convenient home, but they meet all their financial needs. So even though you think there's no way for you to get what you want, that's not true. You can have anything and everything that you want. I've gone everywhere in the world that I've ever wanted to go. So far, 44 countries. Yeah. These may sound like simple desires, but I've also had my body healed of some serious stuff the doctors thought. God and I knew we could get it handled. I'm asking you to expand your faith, because your faith will bring you everything your heart desires. Your faith in yourself, in your own courage, in your own wisdom, your own desire to be all that you came to be. Because the truth about you is that you are the beloved of God, whatever God is, whatever that energy system is that keeps all the planet going where they're supposed to go, and the trees to grow, the birds to fly. You are integral to this system, and who you are and what you do and how you influence your little world or larger world or enormous world is up to you. So far, deep breath. You have to forgive yourself to get rid of the energy around all the times that we made mistakes. Yeah. I advise you, if you want to play big, to become a tither. 1/10 of all the monies you receive are given back on a regular basis to that person, place, or institution where you've received your spiritual food. Yeah. I'm asking you to spend time every day forgiving yourself and others. And if you need techniques, they're in my little book, How to Become Debt-Free. Forgive. And there are ways to forgive yourself and to forgive others, to forgive circumstances. And if you do them, maybe not once, but maybe 1,000 times or 10 times, you'll have the breakthroughs that you see. Your life will be getting better. You'll be happier. You'll receive more substance. You'll find that life takes on a glow, because the truth of you, my dear beloved friends, is that you are the light of the world. And right now, the world needs our light. Thank you so much. I'm open to questions. Anyone have anything you'd like to ask? I would love to do my best to answer them.
Great. Okay, so we have one from Celeste Turkin. She has her hand raised.
Yes, Celeste.
Yes, it's very simple. The line that you did, the affirmation, for forgiveness, I forgive myself.
Completely. I
Completely.
forgive myself. That's it. You don't have to say why. Just say, I forgive myself completely. And I wrote it 35 times in the morning, 35 times in the evening for 7 days. That's 70 times 7. And I felt better. So much so that I wanted to do it for my father, my mother, and my brother. And then all my previous relationships. And, you know, I was quite probably in my 50s around that when I did that. So I had quite a few previous relationships.
Thank you.
Thank you, Celeste.
All right, we have Paul, Reverend Paul. He's got his hand up.
Hi, Reverend Paul.
Hi, Edwene. This is fabulous. Thank you so much. How do we help somebody who has the lack consciousness? because I am incredibly prosperous. I have all the
Yay.
money I need. Yes, yes. I'm so fortunate.
Yay.
But how do I help people who have the lack consciousness, who are just not making it or barely making it, or, how can I help?
Have they asked for help?
No.
That's a good clue of when you can start teaching them. Yeah. I have a lot of friends who don't want to hear what I have to say anymore because I preached at them too much. You know that feeling? But
Yes.
if I can drop a hint, just not it's easy for me to go into preaching mode. You know what I'm saying? Very
Yes.
easy. So I have to really guard myself. I say, what are you working on these days? Well, I've got the da 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 da. Oh, well, I can give you an affirmation to help that come true. Would you be interested in that? And give them a short one, not one of those long-winded ones that you and I use, but
Yes.
short, yeah. One of my favorite ones for people who are looking for a job is, I'm rich whether I work or not. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
The perfect
Love
job
it.
is waiting for me. Just simple little things, but
Got it.
always ask, would you like an affirmation?
Yeah.
That's a way that I do it. But if you find
Perfect.
a better way, I'm counting on you to let me know.
All right. I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edwene.
Thank you, Paul. Now we have we have Karen Kushner.
Hi, Karen. Oh my goodness, Karen, how are you, honey?
She has to unmute. There you go.
I've been, okay. Hello, my dear friend. Hi.
Sweetheart, you look younger every time I see you.
Yeah, well, like attracts like. So, two things. I just wanted to share with you an update. When I was with you at your last minister's retreat, I asked you about how do I tithe on my investments. And I was asking you for all these details, and you said, it sounds to me like you're trying to tithe as little as possible.
That sounds like me.
And you were so right. And as you know, I'm still working on tithing on the growth of, in my investments, even though I don't take that growth out of the investments. So sometimes it does go up, it does go down, but whenever it goes up, I tithe.
Good.
So I'm working on it. Let me put it
Thank
that way.
you.
My second question is, and someone may have answered it in the chat, can you share again that affirmation that you do about expanding your tolerance for
Yes.
pleasure?
I am working on expanding my tolerance for pleasure.
Excellent.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So let me just interject here. We have several hands up. We're not ready to get to. So we've got like about 3 more minutes, maybe 4 more minutes. Because we'll just forego anything that we normally use to close up and let you have the whole time. But we don't have a whole lot of time. So if you guys could just get to the question, that'd be really great. So we could have as many people as possible get in here. So Suzette, you're next.
Hi, Suzette. Hi.
You need to unmute, Suzette.
Okay, I've been trying to unmute. It wasn't.
There you go.
Edwin, I just want to say I went to one of your retreat centers and actually walked on coals with you. And that was a life-changing experience for me. Where'd you go? Anyway, what I wanted to say, and I don't know if this is appropriate for today, but I think it's something relevant for today, and that is there's a lot of change going on in the world. And as we have over 130 ministers or practitioners here, I would like to see if you have any wisdom words to guide us. I know that I have minimized my view of the entire world to say to my people, take care of your home, take care of your family, take care of your immediate needs, so they feel like they have some kind of control, and then work with them on that level. And so I just wanted to see if you had any additional words of wisdom for us, because I think we're all trying to help a lot of people, and
Yes.
you're one of our special people in our lives. So And thank you for being in my life. I had somebody actually give me your book of, oh God, over 30, 40 years ago, and it doubled my income. I became debt-free and I'm very prosperous and I'm grateful for all the guidance you've given me too. So
Wonderful.
anyway, I'll shut up now.
I'll tell you what I've had to do for myself about the seeming disorganization, or sometimes called chaos, or strange things happening in my nation and the world. First of all, I looked in prayer, and here's what I know. This is not a popular opinion. Everything that happens in my life is for my good.
Mhm.
So even though there are politicians on both sides that I may or may not agree with, the guidance I've got in prayer is to rise above it and to love everyone involved in everything as if they're my father, my mother, my sister, my brother, my child, because everyone, presidents, vice presidents, ex-presidents, Congress, they're all doing the best they know how to do.
Yes.
And who am I to judge them? I pray for them. And my teacher says, love one another. He did not say love the ones you like or love the ones you agree with. He didn't say tolerate them. He said love them. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to be an example of it. And if people come to me with their gripes, I ask them, I'd like to change the conversation. Why don't you tell me what you like about your life instead of what you don't like? And sometimes that makes them change their mind about what they want to talk about.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzette, for that question. Thank you, Suzette, Edwene, for that answer. We're going to go ahead and get Andrea in here real quick and see if we
Okay.
can get a couple more.
I'll be as quick as I can.
You're very quick. I just want the people that are coming in to get to their.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I meant Maya, but go ahead, Andrea, and then Maya's next. No, that's fine. I said the wrong.
Who is this? Who is this person?
This is
I'm Andrea.
Andrea, hi.
It's great to see you again. I grabbed on my bookshelf a notebook that I have a date on it from 2019 where I wrote 70 times 7. I forgive myself completely. And every single one is on here. Each page is a new day. And it was transformational. I read your book many years ago, and thank you. Just wanted to say that. Thank you very much.
I'm so proud of you. Thank you, sister.
All right, let's get Maya in here. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I just wanted to share the synchronicity that I feel like I'm experiencing right now. Someone sent me an invitation to be in a prosperity course. I do like prosperity courses at the beginning of the year. I usually put them on myself, but I just wasn't feeling the energy about it. And someone sent me this message from Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living in Kingston, Jamaica. I just wanted to shout them out. And they said that they were doing a prosperity course with your book and Eric Butterworth. And I said, yeah, that's it for me this year. I'm gonna study with Edwene. So yesterday, my husband and I were just listening to the book on tape, your voice yesterday. And then I see this message here today from Anton. So thank you, Anton. Thank you, Edwene. Thank you, Spirit.
Yes, how wonderful. What a good story. That's following your guidance. Yeah.
Excellent. So we are 2 minutes out. So I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you so much from all of us, Edwene. Can we just give her I don't know how we do this kind of thing. Just beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I had a great time with you.
Just beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bill, is there anything that you want to share, or some news that we want to let everybody know about other than our next one, next LT coming up?
There's always stuff coming up at Anton. The big thing is this year, the annual retreat in the first week in October at Unity Village. There will be a call for presenters in the e-newsletter that's coming out on the 1st, which is just a couple of days from now. We're going deep within, so it's going to be people who are part of Anton getting to talk to the group. So in addition to speaking or listening to each other, we get to talk to each other, and that'll be wonderful. Keep an eye out for that. The music director is Ricky Byers, who you might have heard of, so that's going to be pretty spectacular. Thought Leader Thursday is the last Thursday every month. You can check the website, register for that. We do a monthly prayer call for a half an hour. That's middays. We also do a meditation once a week on Wednesday evenings or afternoons, depending on your time zone. Check the website, antn.org. And again, you can make a donation to support Edwene, a love offering. I think if you make a donation, you can be the one who brings Edwene over $1,000 for this afternoon. And that's all I got.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you all so much. I think we've all been spiritually fed here today. So I don't think there's anybody here that won't be able to tithe or donate, whatever you want to call it, to Edwene. Thank you so much, Edwene. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you, all of you, for being on here, asking your questions, all of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you so much. And this we have.
Deep has snacks.